Hi, this is Simon Upstill and welcome to another tutorial for Apple Motion, and today I'm going to show you how to create this effect that I'm calling the Honey Factory. So please don't ask me what this is or how you're meant to use it. I just thought this was quite an interesting project to talk about. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm going with 1920 1080, 24 frames a second, duration of 10 seconds. And the first thing I'm going to do is come over to generators and I'm going to bring in clouds. And let's just quickly set that up. Let's have a horizontal scale of 16 and a vertical scale of 64. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to filters and distortion and I'm going to look for insect eye. I want to set the size to 25 and let's set this refraction value to 4. So that gives quite a nice effect already. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to add a mirror to this, and I'll explain why in just one second. So distortion and mirror. We don't want it horizontal, we want it vertical, so switch the angle to 90 degrees, and you can see we're mirroring about the center there. And then we're going to come to filters and tiling and offset, and we're going to apply a ramp behavior to the vertical offset. So add parameter behavior ramp, and we're going to set the end value to 500. And what that's going to do is this, so endlessly cycling up. So the reason I wanted to use that mirror is if we don't use the mirror, we can see the tiling of the offset filter. So that's why we need to use that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to come to filters and distortion, and we're going to use the rarely used disc warp, this one here. Let's set the amount to something like 360. And that gives us this sort of interesting hole in the middle around which our texture can flow. I'm actually going to duplicate it as well. So right click, duplicate. I'm going to set the radius to 150 and I'm going to move the center over -700. So we've got this little one over here on the side. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So right click, duplicate and set this value to 700. Now we've got a bit of distortion here on our central disc warp because the other two are influencing it, but it's not actually going to matter too much in the long run. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to take this and we're going to duplicate it. So right click, duplicate. And for this one, we want to remove these disc warps and instead we are going to add a distortion and sphere. And you can see what that's done is it's popped this spherical version into the middle like that. So the other thing I want to do is come over to the behaviors and just set that end value to be -500 instead. So it's going in the opposite direction like this. So then let us take this group that's got both of those in it, close both those up now. And we are going to first of all add a stylize and indent, and let's just set that softness down to something like 0.1. Then let's come to filters and let's add sharpen and unsharp mask just to get a really nice crisp version like that. Then let's come to filters, mask and keying and luma keyer. And so this, if we look at the alpha channel, is going to give us some transparency. Let's grab this one here. No idea what it's called, doesn't have a name. Impossible to understand how the luma keyer is meant to work with in terms of these controls. Let's just grab that and do that with it. So then I'm going to come to filters and stylize and extrude. So this is giving us this kind of 3D effect on these holes here at the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the back size to 0.9. So then I'm going to, just above this clouds here, I'm going to come down and select the circle tool and I'm going to draw out a circle like that. So geometry, we want its radius to be 180. Style, we want its color to be black. And what that's going to do is it's going to blank out that central hole there. So we just need to come to properties, zero out the Y and set this X position to, I think, -700. So then what we need to do is clone it, right click, make clone layer, and we'll set that position to be positive 700. So now we've got those on the sides, that's looking a little bit better. So I then want to duplicate this clone, so right click, duplicate. I want to set its scale down to I think 75% and its Y position to 360. So now we've got a cutout at the top there. I'm going to right click, duplicate, set the Y position to negative 360. We've got one at the bottom. I'm going to duplicate both of these. So select them both, right click, duplicate. Just going to move them up so they're both at the top there. And I'll set them both to negative 700. That's with them both selected. I can just move them both at the same time. So now we've got something much more interesting. So I'm going to make a new group just above these. So object new group, and I'm going to drop all of those into that new group. And then I'm going to clone the group, and I'm going to drag the clone out to the top here. And then what I want to do is come to filters and border and stroke. And I want to first of all hide source, so we haven't got any of the source. And then I'm going to just adjust the color, take out the saturation, and maybe just dial back the brightness just a little bit like that, so it's sort of sitting in a bit more with the rest of it. And then let us, I think, put everything into a new group. So objects new group, drop those two groups into it. Let's first of all come to color and colorize. And let's actually just stick with that basic colorize setting. And let's also come to color and levels. And let's just crunch it in a lot so we've got a nice bright effect like that. Maybe even crunch in the blacks as well, so it's all really nice and rich looking. Now what I want to do is I want to come back in, where's my extrude? My extrude there. I want to set that angle to 270. A little bit more symmetrical than that 45-degree angle. Or we could actually go the other way, 90. Actually, maybe 90 is better. Let's go with 90. So let's come back to our group here. And the final step is going to be just to add a little bit of glow. So glow and neon. Let's dial the mix value down to about 25%. And let's increase the outer glow value, maybe even the outer glow brightness, maybe inner brightness. Yeah, let's really punch it up like that. And maybe even punch up our levels a bit more like that. So it's all really kind of nice and rich. And maybe just increase the saturation of our colorize a little bit. I don't know, something like that. So I've really no idea what this is meant to be, but I just thought some of these tricks were really pretty interesting. So I thought I'd show it to you anyway. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.